Welcome back, friends. We are here with another guest, James from Just Ape, a co-founder with them. So maybe give an introduction to yourself, and maybe a little bit of background in Just Ape.
Yeah, absolutely. So we consider ourselves a premier Web3 business focused on accelerating the mainstream adoption of blockchain technology. So, ever since we launched a year ago, some of our focuses have been reaching more of a non-crypto native audience. You mentioned something earlier, I think it was great, right? In terms of Web3, it only works if we get more people that are participating in the ecosystem. So a lot of our initiatives are focused on reaching more of a non-crypto native audience, right? So some of the ways we've done that is, we partnered with Solana Spaces while they were up. We were selling a lot of our physical products in Hudson Yards in New York City. We're also selling them in Wynwood, Miami. Really kind of focusing on how can we bring more people to NFT ecosystems.
Tell me a little bit about your product and maybe where you guys specifically started.
Absolutely, yeah. So when we launched, well, we basically looked at a bunch of different verticals. How can we create sustainable revenue streams as an NFT project? We never really wanted to rely on royalties because we don't really see that sustainable long term.
Yeah.
So part of the avenues that we looked into were fashion apparel. We connected with a fashion lead who was very big in the music industry, so he produces all of our fashion apparel OEM down to the fabric he chooses. We also kind of looked at, where can we integrate with local businesses in terms of launching co-branded products. So one of the things we did is we started working with a local wholesaler here in Austin to do co-branded coffee as well, as a means to not only reach our own community with those products, but also look outwardly, right? We didn't want to just focus on Web3. It's kind of one of the big problems we see within NFT ecosystems is people are only creating products for those within Web3 as opposed to...
that 3 times today, and it's so true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I heard I was in this conversation the other day, and someone said something that was very interesting to me and really resonated with me in terms of, we have a lot of people who are currently in Web3 and came from Web2, right? And we're essentially at a point where if we don't continue to onboard more people into Web3 as a whole, we're all going back to Web2, right? Nobody wants to go back to Web2. There's a reason why we're in Web3. We see the belief in the technology. We understand, the long-term meaning of what it can actually do to transform our own lives and everyone else's. So that's really what we've been focusing on as a business since we launched. We're kind of taking more of a pivot in terms of other initiatives. How can we support more community infrastructure within NFT ecosystem? So at first we were looking at current technology and thinking how can we add our own twist. So one of the things that we did on Solana was we created the first kind of NFT loyalty program, right? Okay. So we did no kind of Ponzi token, no daily emissions. We didn't really want to confuse any new participants that we were onboarding into the ecosystem with, this is another token you need to now keep track of and understand what it does. As an alternative, we basically gave every community participant each of our products for free. All they had to do was purchase one of our NFTs, stake with us, and then get everything after they reach their goals. Okay, that's great.
So tell me a little bit about what the community around Just Ape is. Are you a more Web2, where right now, and maybe where do you aspire to be?
Yeah.
And specifically for our meta intro community, it's just learning about Just Ape, what can they expect?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely it's an audience that really understands the value and what we're going for, right?
Okay.
When you do aim for more of a Web2 audience, you kind of you lose a little bit of Web3, just in the essence of the long-term vision of what you're actually going for. You're obviously trying to reach Web2 in a meaningful way. So to do that, in Web3 ecosystems, a lot of things are sustained by hype and this kind of shroud of mystery, but we're very transparent with everything that we do, everything that we work on, all the products that we're working on. So I'd say it's a little bit geared more towards Web2, but you kind of touched on an interesting point earlier in terms of what y'all are hiring for, or the positions that y'all kind of reach out and put out there to community manager. That's what we've been looking for, a solid community manager for months
Our
now.
community's gonna be so excited. You hit on one of my questions, so tell me what would be the perfect community manager for you. I like that you've been looking for it for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And then maybe even to get cut straight to the chase. What's the best way? I'm not even gonna say the best way to connect with you. You need to figure that out. What's the best way to impress?
I'd say we really just want people that have real world experience, right? We want Web2 experience with aiming to connect with more of a Web2 audience. We feel as it's imperative to have that, that Web2 experience to kind of really understand how you can approach everything in terms of attracting that wider audience. With Web3, there's so much good talent, but a lot of people are pretty narrow-minded in terms of only catering to a Web3 audience. We want someone who understands the needs and wants of a Web2 community. So that's why we've had that position open for a really long time. We've been accepting applications. Unfortunately, I haven't found a right fit for months now, but we want someone who has that experience in Web2 and wants to branch out in the Web3 in a meaningful way, right? Because we're here for the long term. We're building a sustainable business, and that's really what our focus is. How can we get a community that's going to be more involved around not only Web2 but also Web3. So having that foundational experience in Web2, we feel is very important for what we want to do, want to achieve.
That's great. Our community is going to be super excited about this, and if you're in the Just Ape community, join the Meta Intro Discord. There's tons of jobs posted daily, about 1,000 jobs a week. We'd love to feature you in our newsletter because we've got a ton of Web2 individuals that this is their first foray into Web3. They usually land in our Discord. Sounds like a really cool role. Do you have anything unique about your JD? You gave a little bit of an overview, of it, but maybe what is the interview process for you? And I'll even go and question deeper. What do you like about a good interview process? What do you appreciate?
I'm a big sucker for self-starters, right? I hate micromanaging. Coming from Web2, I used to be a software engineer, so anybody that's very hands-off and can kind of just do their own thing and kind of brainstorm their own initiatives that kind of revolve around our core mission, I think is very big to me. I hate to tell someone what they need to do. Someone that's basically just like, this is what I want to do with the role, this is what I'm going to do with the role. Someone that can really take full ownership of it. That's essentially what we're looking for.
How big is the team?
Right now, we're at about 4 core team members, but we're looking to expand. We have about a total of 12 employees, including everyone that works for the community, the mods, everyone that kind of handles marketing, that kind of stuff. So we're definitely looking to scale up and grow as fast as we can, but we're waiting for that right community manager before we do that hiring our own.
Oh wow, so this is a real important position.
Yeah, absolutely.
Position. You guys aren't screwing around.
Yeah, it's very important for us to again bring on that right fit. Within NFT ecosystems, community means everything, right? So we want to make sure the person that we're bringing on is going to be here for the long run. We don't want to just hire someone that's only going to be around for 2 months. We want someone who really understands the vision of what we're trying to build and what we're trying to achieve.
Tell me about your background. How did you get engaged in Web3?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was actually, I've background in software engineering. I was working at a few startups right out of college. I was about to go work for Visa, a big payments processor, y'all probably know that. And at that point in time, I got into Bitcoin like early days, but eventually I kind of strayed away from crypto, and I was going to take a software engineering gig at Visa, and they bought their first crypto fund. And I was like, this was the first time I was like, oh wow, Fortune 500 company is buying NFTs. Maybe it's not all just one big Ponzi. So I got more involved. I ended up applying for Kraken and turned down the job at Visa. And then from there, it kind of just took its own way. Worked for Kraken for about a year, and then I was like, maybe I should do Web3 full time, start my own thing. And
have you been a founder before? Or is this
no, this is my first time. Wow. Yeah. So it was just kind of my own foray into Web3 as a whole.
You got a great microphone for Jason, it was great to meet you. Thanks for coming out.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me.
See you guys soon.